Hello, everyone. Christy Preisman. Very nice to have you all tonight. I think the angle of my camera is a little low, so I'll lift up my computer here for a little bit. We are very, as I've already said like 4 times, we are very excited to have all of you here with us tonight. It looks like right now have about 25 of the 28 who are supposed to be here, and I know for sure one person is going to be missing tonight. Okay, Candace, I just saw your microphone come on. Welcome. And let's see here, Victoria, Adela, I think I can see that you can hear, but I'm not quite sure that I can hear you talk, just FYI, because it says you don't have a microphone yet. And then let's see here, scrolling down, I see Laura Lee. I think she's logging on right now. Leah, I know you're on your phone. And if, it looks like she can hear me. She texted yay, so that's great. And Leanne, welcome. Lori, I think you can hear me. I don't see a microphone yet, but I think you can hear me. And then Michelle looks to be logging on, and Odious is logging on as well. So this is wonderful that all of you were able to make it. So what that says 26. So that means we're only missing one. We have a very, very hopefully exciting night for you all to kind of get started in the process and get to learn a little bit more about our program, kind of some details. And tonight we will we'll have some introductions, and we'll kind of pass the computer around. And for those of you who are teachers and for those of you who have been students, you know always that technology isn't always the most cooperative thing in our classrooms, but we hope it will be tonight. So I'm just going to apologize in advance if we have any glitches or anything like that. But so far, everything looks pretty smooth. So again, my name is Dr. Christy Preisman, and I am the program director, and will be and I will have a lot of courses with you throughout your program. And then tonight with us, we also have Dr. Lois Linden, and I'll have Dr. Linden talk to you real quick and say hello. She's working on her mic. See, this is that technology stuff. I wonder why it won't give you that. Here, you want to use mine. All right, we're going to switch. I'm going to give her my computer real quick so she can say hi.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lois Linden, and I bet I was still muted. Give me 1 second here. I'm Dr. Lois Linden, and I have been at College of St. Mary for 12 years, and I'm a nurse by profession, and I started teaching here in the nursing program, but since 2009, I have taught in the doctoral program, and so we have worked diligently and with a lot of input from the current students and past students to hopefully bring you a great doctoral program. So I will let Dr. Preisman go ahead and get the rest of the introductions.
Okay, wonderful. And next, we have a student with us tonight, and her name is Susan Ray, and she started in the fall 2017 cohort. And so she will she's going to be very patient with us tonight, because she's going to come on at the end, and then she'll be able to answer any questions that you have. So I will let her introduce herself real quick.
Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Ray. Nice to meet you all. Looking forward to talking to you a little bit later.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
So I did it down here before, do it, but now it's
Okay, here we go. All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. Our agenda for this evening, we took care of our introductions, and real quick, we'll talk about College of St. Mary's mission and the EDD program competencies. We will give you an overview of the Doctor of Education program, as well as talk about some of the instructional tools that we will be using. And then we'll go over our doctoral expectations, and then we'll have questions and comments with Susan and myself and Dr. Linden. So a little bit about our conversation tonight. Some of it's going to be a little bit formal, so you have the formal black shoes there, and a lot of it will be informal. Our classes, we will have virtual meetings, and so we do try to make them as conversational and as personable and just like we would in the classroom, where you will get the chance to know us and we will get the chance to know each one of you. So, like everything, we'll have a little formal and a little informal. Oh, and then don't forget your agenda. Hopefully, if you have printed that off so that you can kind of follow along and take whatever notes you might need to take as well. So to begin with, the mission of College of St. Mary, we are a Catholic university that provides access and education for students. Now, I have students italicized because our undergraduate program, for those of you who don't know, is we are an all-female college. But in the graduate programs, we take men. And so we are very excited because we have a few men who have joined us in the fall. And other than one other lone male that I've had since I've been here, we've always been female. So gentlemen, welcome. We are very, very excited to have you. But what College of St. Mary promotes is an environment that calls forth potential and fosters leadership. Our work is consistent with the works, values, and aspirations of the Sisters of Mercy, and therefore this mission inspires us to excellence, service, dignity, compassion, inclusivity, and integrity. And we have information about College of St. Mary's mission on our website, and it really is quite interesting, especially if you ever have time to learn a little bit more about Sister Catherine McCauley, who is the founder of the Sisters of Mercy, and she was an amazing woman. She was definitely all about girl power and empowering women in education, in leadership, in their family, in all sorts of ways. So it really is a very inspirational story. So a lot of times you will see the walking woman, which is that tall little skinny lady that always is next to College of St. Mary's name. But again, our graduate logo is a little different. We take that gal off there because we know we have our men. Our EDD program, we have 4 main competencies that we will work with you as you are in our program. And the first one is facilitating learning. I would say probably about 85 to 90% of our students come to us because they want to teach in higher ed. Now, I know not all of you in this group want to teach in higher ed, but I do know that you will be doing some facilitation, staff development, all sorts of things like that in your role. So we really do emphasize that teaching and learning piece and how you can be effective in the classroom. Our second competency is the curriculum design, assessment, and evaluation. And again, this, even though the 90% of you will likely teach in higher ed, everybody in some way, shape, or form will need to know more about curriculum design, assessment, how you may use that in a program, how you may use that in a department, in a college, at your business, and then evaluating any type of kind of quality improvement of how do we make our workplace better. And so we will talk about those things in a few of our classes. Our competency 3 is that we expect that you will function as a change agent and leader. And so this is kind of that educational leadership piece, and we have some really good classes to kind of help you move forward as a leader. And finally, competency 4 is you will engage in scholarship. And this, of course, will happen from the first class all the way to your dissertation, where, we want you to be wonderful consumers of scholarly research. We want you to use it in your work. We want you to be knowledgeable about the topics that you love and that you are passionate about. So those are kind of the four, what I like to call pillars of our program. And as you get further into the program, these are laid out in more detail. And we'll talk about these in our professional learning community. We'll talk about these in Doctoral Seminar 1. And so you'll have a better idea of them as well. Okay, so next I am going to hand it over to Dr. Linden, and she will give you an overview of the program.
So welcome to the CSM doctoral program piece where we're going to talk about the courses and the program of study that you will be engaged in. And as most of you are aware, this is a 3-year program, although there are a couple of College of St. Mary employees who will be on a different track. And we'll work with you separately from the cohort. But you will be in a cohort plan that is 2 years of coursework and 1 year of dissertation work. And then the courses have the calling cards of EDL, which stands for Ed Leadership. So all of your courses are preceded with those call letters, and then the course numbers are what you will see in the program of study. Most of the courses are 3 credit hours, other than those that are indicated as 1 or 2, and we'll go through that in just a minute. And then most of the courses are 8 weeks long, except when you get into your dissertation work, and then those will be for the entire semester. So let's jump ahead to this fall and look at what would happen in the fall semester. You would be taking 6 credits. We start the 3rd Sunday of August, which happens to be the 19th of August this fall. And there are 2 sessions that are 8 weeks each. And there's a 1-week break in between those sessions. So about mid-October, you'll have a 1-week break. And if we drop down to session 1, you take 2 different courses. There's a 1 credit hour course that's called Doctoral Seminar. And I refer to it more as an introduction to doctoral work, where we go over some of the expectations for being successful in the doctoral program. And then the other course that you take concurrently with that is EDL for 845, which is Teaching and Learning Theories. And then the second half of the fall semester, you will take Curriculum Assessment and Quality Improvement. So that will get you started for this fall. And then when we move forward to spring of 19, the classes start the 2nd Sunday in January. And the classes that you will take is a 1 credit doctoral seminar class where you work on some scholarly work and writing and explore a little bit about what you might potentially take for a dissertation topic, as well as you will also be taking adult learning theories. And so that gives you 4 credits, since adult learning theories is a 3 credit course. If it doesn't have the number in parentheses, it's a 3 credit course. And then in mid-March, you'll start taking qualitative research. So that gets us to next summer. And next summer, you will also be taking 7 credits. You have a 1 credit ethics in educational leadership, plus quantitative research, and then some of you will be taking technology leadership, or some of the others of you will be taking teaching and learning concepts. And we'll work with you next spring to identify which of those courses would be most appropriate for you. And you'll note in that first summer, you take the 3 courses that you will be enrolled in, you'll take them concurrently. So that gets us through the coursework for the first year. And then for fall of 19, which would be a year from now, you'll be anticipating jumping into 7 credits again. You'll take your third and last doctoral seminar, and that's more on the leadership and things that you would anticipate doing postdoctoral work as a professional, and how you will use your doctoral experiences to contribute to the profession and your work environment. And then in addition to that, you'll take advanced stats. And then the second part of that semester of next fall, you'll do leadership in educational organizations. And so you'll see that the themes of leadership, education, and research run through all of this coursework. And then the spring of 20, hard to believe we're saying 2020, but the spring of 2020, you'll take 6 credits. You'll have an educational leadership practicum where you'll actually be able to do some practical work with a preceptor in an educational leadership sort of project work. And then concurrently with that, during that first session of the semester, you'll be also taking dissertation readings. And dissertation readings is really where you work on your literature review for your dissertation work that will be coming up. Now, you'll also notice at the bottom of that spring semester, at the end of that spring semester, when your coursework is essentially done, you'll be having your comprehensive examination. You'll be identifying with us 3 doctoral committee chair and members. So you'll have a doctoral committee of 3 people that will work with you throughout the rest of the program. The first is this comprehensive exam where they will evaluate your understanding of the program competencies. And then in the the third year, they will work with you closely related to your dissertation work. And then moving to the second summer, summer of 2020, you will dig into your research proposal, which are the first 2 chapters of your dissertation in the class that is generating your research proposal. And so just think, in 2 years from now, you will have done your coursework and be ready to start your dissertation work. So then let's take a look at year 3. This focuses, as we mentioned, on really all the dissertation work. The fall of 2020 will be working on the methodology part of your research proposal, and you'll put that in line. And then once that's finished, you'll notice at the bottom of this fall semester that you will present your research proposal to your doctoral committee. They will approve it, and once they've approved it, then you apply to the IRB, Institutional Review Board, to where they give it approval to go ahead and gather your data and begin actually doing your dissertation. And then those final 2 semesters, spring of 21 and spring of 20 and summer of 21, you will be doing your data gathering, data analysis, and writing chapters 4 and 5 of your dissertation, with the ultimate goal of having your oral defense either the end of the summer or the end of the fall of 2021. So that is a very fast glancing overview of the course work. Let's see how that makes you feel. There's no right or wrong to that, but if you look at below the list of participants, there is a little panel of emoticons. Can you see that at the bottom? Take a look at that and see if you're the cool dude that shows up there, or that you're clapping, happy to be there, you're questioning with the light bulb, or any of those faces could be appropriate. There's no judgment related to what emoticon you put next to your name. So select one of those that shares with the group how you feel after looking at that coursework. that? Do you see where that is? I see a hand clapping, I see a smiley face, I think. A cup of coffee. It's okay to be questioning, wondering.
It's good that everybody can hear us.
Interesting, seeing how people think and feel. So, variety of responses. You can keep filling those in if you want. And then we are going to move on to also get your input on maybe some of the experiences you've had. I'm going to take a minute before we get into the instructional tools, which is our next segment, to really have you do a poll on what your online experiences have been. So at the top,
It should be open now.
the poll should be open, and there are three short questions that four questions that you can type in your answers. If you would go ahead and take a minute to talk about your online educational experiences to this point in your educational and professional career.
Sweet. Oh, I can see they're taking it. I can see they're taking it.
I can't see that.
You can't? Okay. Maybe you turn yours down for a minute. I'm going to say something to him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the polling, I know some of you are maybe on devices that don't quite work. I can see that we still have 7 who haven't started, so there's no pressure. It's just another way for us to kind of let you see how WebEx works and how some of the interactive tools that we can use for our courses, or this is an interactive tool we can use for our courses, and we have other things that we do too that are located beyond WebEx and beyond Canvas Conference as well. But this is just kind of another way to get people engaged. So if you can do it, that's great. If not, no worries too.
Results.
I don't know until I close it, if they'll be able to.
About that, I mean, how much time are you giving?
Well, it says they have a couple minutes left. It says there's 4 of them who are still in progress.
Okay, good.
So we'll see. Hopefully they'll be able to do it. The poll's only supposed to be open for 5 minutes. You still have your volume down, Lois? Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are doing great. Looks like we have 4 people still left that are taking it, and then we had 5, it looks like, that weren't able to get it started. And again, that is totally okay. And it'll be something where we'll kind of figure out devices and things like that if you weren't able to log on today, or you can't find the poll or something like that too. So we'll always try to help you and get you the resources and the tools that you need. We have 2 left who are finishing it. And this will be good information for us to look at too as a faculty, so that we know kind of what experiences you may have with online learning. And then that last question, how did you find out about us? Marketing likes to know that. So I put that one in there for them. set up to only go for 5 minutes. So there, I can see there are still 2 of you in progress, and oh, now 1. And so if you don't get done in the next 30 seconds, that's no problem either. And then for some of you who may be familiar with formative assessment, this is an assessment piece where during class an instructor may use something like this so that they can kind of gather where you're at with the knowledge that you've either, if you're supposed to have read, or what you're supposed to, the objectives you would have needed to meet for the class. So this is just kind of a way to tell us, what the students know and where you're each at in your learning. So it is a really great tool, but we have about 10 seconds left. So again, if you don't get through, that's okay, but it will shut off after 5, in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And then on our end, just so you know, I can look at individual results, and what we can do is I can share, we'll see if it'll let me share the poll results with you. I'm not quite sure where they're at. Usually I just look, at them myself, so I don't know, I'll maybe have to look at that, but what we'll do is we'll let Dr. Linden keep rolling.
Okay, so we're going to dive into some of the things that will be helpful for you to be successful regarding instructional tools. Being an online program, it's important that everybody be able to adequately, at a minimum, use the instructional tools that are available. And so on your agenda are some of the details related to this information. And one of them that starts us out, since everybody is from around the world really, is that it's important for you to realize that we will be using everything for synchronous classes, assignment due dates and times, things using Central Standard Time. And that this past year we've had a person in Pakistan, and so that's 11 hours earlier than us. So when we have a 7 p.m. class, it was 6 a.m. for her, and that has worked out really well. She liked that. It just happened to be that that worked out well. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you incorporate the times that are set up for these things to work with the Central Standard Time. And then one of the things related to that, if you aren't familiar with daylight savings time, is that in the fall we jump back an hour, and in the spring we jump ahead an hour. So just makes it more complex regarding that Central Standard Time, but we will keep you abreast of some of those things. Now, in order to have you be able to complete your work, you will have to have the internet connections that provide you opportunity to access all of the CSM technology. And so that's listed under the instructional tools section on your agenda. But you will want to make sure that you have the adequate browsers and speeds and things for your internet connection to make sure you're able to participate. The WebEx system tonight is a good indication that that looks like it is pretty good for most of you, so that's a thumbs up for everybody on that. But if you have need of help, you will want to contact our PC help, and I'll show you where you can do that, or you can email them or call them. And there are some specifics then to the operating systems that we use. You'll want either Windows 8 Professional or Standard, or the Pro of 10. Related to browsers, Internet Explorer and Chrome are supported by our IT department. And And we also have Citrix for your links or applications, which I'll show you in just a minute on my CSM. And then you will want to really look if you are using Mac or some of the other things you'll see down below that Apple and those other things that will, and Android tablets and things like that have some special considerations that you can use if you aren't using a PC or a laptop that fits in with the things that we've just talked about. You will see on the IT site that there are some opportunities to purchase things and some special deals as a student that you can take advantage of. And I think that gets us through most of that. You can read and see where you fit in. And then we're going to talk a little about our learning management system, which is Canvas. And Canvas is, you'll have an opportunity to see how that works when Dr. Preisman shows you the professional learning community in just a few minutes. But that is where your assignments, your discussion boards, and even some of our conferencing, we can use either WebEx like we are doing tonight, or Canvas also has a conferencing program that we can use. So one of those is how we schedule our synchronous classes. And being an online program, sometimes people don't assume there are synchronous classes, but I think one of the beauties of this course or program is that you do have an opportunity to actually interact as a group and with the faculty person so that you can have some discussions that are live. And we will provide hopefully a couple of opportunities so that you can work it into your schedule. One of the other things that we have is called, besides Canvas and WebEx for communicating synchronously, is Tegrity. And Tegrity is a recording system or program that we have. Dr. Preisman has that going tonight, so this is being recorded so that people that aren't here, or if you want to review some of the content that we've talked about this evening, Tegrity provides that recording opportunity. It's also available for you to use as a student if you want to record maybe a presentation and share it with others that way. It might be something that you can use, or for one of your assignments, you do an introduction of yourself, and you're able to use Tegrity for that if you choose over any other programs that you have. And then My CSM is really the website for.
I'll go to and show it to them.
Okay. And so Dr. Preisman brought that up, and you'll see that there's probably three major things that you'd want to be aware of. The first is the buttons at the top. There's a CSM email site, and let's say you wanted to email something to the registrar, you can go through CSM email there. And then I'll talk about Canvas and emailing through that as well. There's the help desk to reach IT if you're having technical problems, and you can access them through there, or email PC help in the regular email. And then my favorite button is the Canvas button, and that's where we do the coursework for the program. And then if we move down to the book, the self-service area, and the self-service is where your courses are registered. The registrar registers your cohort courses, so you don't need to worry about that piece. But you'd be most interested to know that that's where your grades are posted for your transcript, and where you can look at your transcript yourself to, let's see what your grades are for the past 2 semesters or something like that. You can double check them there. And then if you go to the far right of the buttons, you'll see the Tegrity button, and that's where you can record things. Those are probably the main ones that you're interested in. And then if you go to the upper left, right below the College of St. Mary logo, you'll see the menu. And if you click on the menu, a couple of things that will be helpful for you to know is that there's a area called Campus Services, and that lists things like the registrar and the library and those kinds of things that you will want to be able to access. Financial aid is there, and IT, the information technology, has lots of good resources for you as well. And then on the far right, if we slide down to the campus links,
Just a second here. Where am I?
and we'll get that there for in just a second.
Oh, there we go.
The campus links has lots of those same services, but the one that you might be most interested in is where it says My Apps. And if you click on that, it takes you to the Citrix server where you can see some of the things like some of the research aspects for SPSS, some different things like that. So that's another good place that you can go to as a resource. Let's see. So I think that takes us through most of those.
Oh, the email. Remember to tell them about the email.
Oh, in Canvas, is that the?
Oh, yeah, I can show them in
Yeah,
Canvas
I think
though, I
you're gonna
guess.
show
Okay.
them that. Okay, so we will open this for questions about these kinds of things towards the end after you had a chance to listen to some of the caveats that Susan's going to share with you. So hold your questions till then and we'll make sure we get them covered if you have technology questions.
Okay, Lois, will you mute yourself
Yep.
too? All right, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and move forward with the next section of our paper, which is, or I'm sorry, not our paper, our presentation, which is doctoral expectations. So a couple things that we will talk about tonight. The first thing will be just real briefly on self-regulated learning. We are also going to talk about APA and writing, and we will, probably the main focus then will be on our professional learning community, along with some of the resources it has and some assignments that we will be asking you guys to take care of before August 26th. And so I'll explain that a little bit more as soon as we get there. But a little bit about self-regulated learning. I have been with College of St. Mary since 2015, and I came from a college where I had taught for 10 years in online learning, and so every year is new to me, and every new cohort that we get, we are learning new things as far as our instruction and the way our program is developed. And as the longer I'm here, the more I realize, working with adults is definitely different than working with high schoolers, and working with people who are working on their doctorate is different than working with undergraduates. And so we're really trying to reinforce this self-regulated learning piece, because we know that as you are at this level, you are really here to do the learning really truly for you. Nobody's making you be here. Nobody's making you get this degree. At least I don't think they are. That this is a choice that you are making. And so we know that you are very invested in this, especially with the time and the money that you are about to give over to College of St. Mary. So we just really want you to think about learning as a process and the kind of the joy of learning. And so we ask you, as you start this program, to kind of think about the forethought process, which is the first step in self-regulated learning. And that's that goal setting and strategic planning. So knowing what it is that you want, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And how do you plan to accomplish these? In the past, we usually do lose at least 4 people in the first semester. Now, our numbers are much bigger than they have been in the past. So unfortunately, that may mean that we lose more than that. And I'm not trying to say that to scare anyone. I just want everyone to be aware that there are folks who get to the program and think that they are ready, and they get into courses and they realize they're not. So it's very important that you have your goals set and you know what it is that you want for yourself. You think about, how am I going to balance my work life with my family life and my professional life, and you have a plan set out, okay? And so number 2 is then the performance phase. And this is where you implement these strategies that you have. You implement, how is it that I'm going to achieve my short-term goals, and how is it that I'm going to achieve my long-term goals? We need to think about time management, motivation, effort, grit, resilience, all those wonderful words that are important to us when we step out on a journey as you guys are about to begin. And one thing that we are really pushing also, especially in this performance phase, is the help seeking. Sometimes I think the reason we have lost folks in this first semester is because they choose not to ask for help, and they wait until it's too late. So in the first courses that you have, you need to ask questions. You need to email your professor. You need to seek help from your peers if that's what will help you. But it is very, very important that you ask for help. And it's also kind of a respect piece too, because we have found in some of our courses that students will work on assignments, and then we'll get to the assignment due date, or we'll get to the final, and they'll tell their professors, well, we didn't know what to do, or I didn't know what to do. Well, it is your responsibility as a student to figure out what to do. And we need you to ask questions. We need you to send emails. We need you to make phone calls. If you're local, you are more than welcome to stop by our office. If you would like to have a virtual meeting via WebEx, we would be happy to do that with you as well. So please, please, please reach out if you are struggling, because your professor and myself, if I'm the professor or the program director, whatever role I'm playing, we will help you, because we want everyone to succeed. So that's kind of the performance phase. And then is that self-reflection phase. And of course, all of this is cyclical, okay? It's all where it's continuing, and you're going to be going through this self-regulated learning while you're in the program. But this last piece is this self-evaluation and self-reaction, self-reflection. What is it that worked well for you? What is it that you struggled with, in one class or maybe one semester? And what can you do that's better? If it's maybe finding a time, you need to set more hours aside during the week in a quiet place. If you need to talk to your boss about, maybe I need a little bit more time off to work on things, or if you need to talk to your family about some of the things you may have to cut back on. Those are going to have to be choices that you make. And right now, being in a 3-year program, we do hope that those kinds of choices are temporary. And I think Susan, when you get to talk to her later, that will be a really good question to ask her, is kind of about the pace and what it is like to be a brand new doctoral student. And then, of course, it's also important that we have an understanding of the grades and overall learning experience. In order to continue on the program, you have to have a B or higher in your classes. It's a policy of our graduate program. It's a policy of the EDD program. But it's not all about just getting an A. We, of course, need you to have a B or better, but we don't need you to have all A's. And there may be classes where you don't get an A. And I know that I don't even believe myself when I say this, but it's okay. And I know that I had a B. I think I did. I might have had a couple in my PhD program, and I survived. I have a great job, and I am okay. But what is important is that you value that learning experience, and you value, even if it comes down to a moment where you got a B, and so maybe you didn't grasp the content as well as you would have liked, but now you've learned, hey, I can survive, I got a B. Or I learned a new strategy in struggling in this class like I did, or I have greater resilience now. There's always going to be something we can learn and some kind of self-reflection of how we can become a better student and a better person in our classes. So please don't make it all about the A. Make it more about this overall learning experience and how you can grow as a leader, how you can grow as an educator, how you can grow as a person and represent yourself, represent your place of work, and represent College of St. Mary once you have your doctorate. So I hope that makes sense, but we really do want you guys to think about yourselves as learners and the process of actually learning, and we want you to have a good time and grow while you are in our program. Okay, so writing an APA. Of course, this is a huge piece of a doctoral program. You have a mandatory text. I have been in touch, I believe, with everybody that you do need that APA manual. If you do not have that, I need you to get that ASAP, okay? I know there are resources that you can use online, but it's just good to have the book, start earmarking it, start putting the stickies in it, whatever it is that you need to do. Get that book and start using it, okay? And in a little bit, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you your professional learning community. And within there, we have quite a few resources. We have resources for writing. We'll talk about Turnitin. We'll talk about smart thinking. And then, of course, the scholarly resources and College of St. Mary's library resources as well. Okay, so here's the big one. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the learning community, and I want to make sure hopefully everybody is still there. And if you have questions, just make sure that you're kind of writing them down, and we can definitely answer everything that we can at the end. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen once again, and we will go ahead and go into the professional learning community. And this little thing likes to be at the top of my screen, so I cannot see my tabs. All right, here we go. Dashboard. All right, so here is what is the dashboard of your Canvas account, okay? And you will, as your courses grow, you will get these little blocks just like I have. And so right here is our professional learning community. Now, each of you have been enrolled in this, and tomorrow morning, this will be open to you. It's not published yet, but it will be tomorrow morning, and then you will have to accept an invitation to the professional learning community, and then you will be you'll be enrolled in it, and you will get to kind of jump in and see what this is about. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this into a student view because it is a little bit different than what my view is. Now, over here on this sidebar, so this is kind of a brief introduction to Canvas as well. But you have your account here, and you have your dashboard, and your dashboard is what, and you know what, I'm going to have to leave the student view for that because they're not going to let me show you these things in a student view. Hopefully it'll let me. There we go. There we go. Okay, so your account, you can put your beautiful picture there. You can see that we have settings, and it'll just kind of, really, you just kind of have to scroll through this stuff and see what is applicable to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't been on this settings page a whole lot. Your files. That one doesn't want to cooperate with me. There we go. There we go. And so in your account is different things where you can, this should be where I can email, or yeah. So like my email address is over here, and you can add an email address. And on your agenda, on page 4 at the top, there is directions on how to link up your email. It is very important that you have access to your CSM email every day. And so if you can hook it up on your phone with your email app, we would really appreciate that. And that will save you time that you don't have to keep logging into Canvas or my CSM to get to your email. So the directions are there, so please go ahead and do that. Now, you will not have the administration tab. That's just for me. But then again, your dashboard will be right here with the different colored squares. And then your courses is a little as you can see, it's a kind of a sign that will come out, and that lists all of your courses. Here on this front page in Canvas, you can actually delete things and hide things. You can change the color, you can change the name. So there's lots of kind of fun stuff that you can do with it as well. And then you have a calendar down here, and then here is your inbox, which is where we can email through Canvas. So it's totally dependent upon you how it is that you would like to email us. You can do it through here or your regular CSM email. The one thing we have learned about our CSM email is that you cannot include attachments. Those, for some reason, they have a really hard time going through. So if you need to send something to your professor, please go in through your through the My CSM and not the Canvas email. And then a button that is very important here at the bottom is the help. And I have this listed on page 3, but to learn more about Canvas, there are a couple things that I would suggest. The first one is this Search the Canvas guides. You can find answers to any common questions that we have. You can report a problem. You can ask the community. I don't think I've ever done that before. And two other ones that will be pretty important to you are the support hotline right here for students. But what I really like is the chat with Canvas, because this is a live instantaneous chat where somebody will respond to you right away. And overall, they do a pretty good job solving problems, and they're very friendly. So if you ever have anything, even before you go to PC Help through CSM, I would go to the chat with Canvas support first and let them see if they can help you fix your problem. And then again, if you prefer something on the phone, you can always do that too. So that's the help button is amazing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll go into the professional learning community, and I will once again put that on the student view so you see what this looks like. But this will be for the community, or our community for cohort 2018, and each cohort has their own. And there are a couple important pages. The first one is your announcement page, and I would just ask that you check this at least once a month, because this is kind of our advising site. And so I'm technically everyone's advisor, but because we register you and everything's kind of done as a cohort, it's not really that big a deal that, that I have all these advisees. But if you ever have to list someone as an advisor, you can go ahead and put my name down. But as you can see, your first note is just about our fall classes. So we'll have the sessions and the breaks, and and this will actually be a little bit more detailed now that we have, or as soon as we have like course meeting dates and things like that. So that information will be there. So please check the announcement page, like I said, at least once a month if you can. The next page, we've already talked about the College of St. Mary mission and the program competencies. Here they are in more detail. So if you remember, we talked about the 4 pillars. These are the specific competencies that we will ask you to have met by the time you have completed our program. And right up here, I will also be adding the College of St. Mary graduate catalog, but they do not have the 2018-2019 version finished yet, but that will be posted as soon as that is finished. And then, let's see here, the next page, the next 2 pages are pretty important, so I'm going to skip down real quick. And the class schedule, it's just the program of study, so you probably have that in a lot of different places, so that one's pretty simple. And then we have our suggestions for success. Now this page we've kind of been building throughout our work with our online cohorts. And so as you can see here, we actually have some dissertation samples if that's something that you would like to look at. Here's a little bit more information on self-regulated learning and motivation. So if you would please take the time to watch that. And then we have a few of our writing and APA tools listed here as well. So again, that required text. Here's some helpful websites for about writing. This one right here, What to Do with Negative Feedback on Your Writing. This is a blog and it lasts about 20 minutes. And I really, really would love it if all of you could watch this, because the fact of the matter is no one's writing is perfect. I mean, even after all the writing I've been doing, mine still is nowhere near perfect. And when people give me feedback, I think it's a learned experience in how you deal with negative feedback on your writing. And this is something that you are each going to have to deal with. It doesn't mean we don't like you or your writing. Our goal is strictly to make you a better writer and to help you meet the expectations and the objectives of your assignments. So please welcome that, as hard as that is to do sometime. And that might actually be another great question for Susan. Just, how to deal with that and to really know that our goal is not to hurt you, it's to help you and to give you that feedback to try to make you a better writer. Okay, so that's good stuff. So I'll cheer you on, and I know I'm going to have to do it more as we go through the program. But the next section talks about Turnitin. And this is a tool that we use that, first of all, is very helpful to the student because you can run your assignments through Turnitin, and it will help you with grammar, spelling, punctuation. It'll help you identify whether or not you have plagiarized, used someone's work without permission. It's a great tool to help improve your writing. We also use it as a faculty to not only kind of see how your writing is progressing, but we do use it for plagiarism. And I've stated in the agenda that if there are any issues with plagiarism, that you can, of course, get an F on the assignment, you can fail a course, and you can be removed from the program. So we take plagiarism very seriously. So just don't even tempt yourself with it. Just you get that APA book out, learn how to cite direct quotations, learn how to paraphrase quotes, and do the most ethical work that you can do from the beginning. Turnitin does keep track of all papers that have been submitted to CSM, and it is a database from institutions all over the world. So it's a pretty good tool in helping indicate to us if someone is plagiarizing work that is not their own. And this will tell you a little bit about Turnitin. You can go to their website, and then it also gives you an example of what the originality report is, and that will that will help you improve your writing. We also have what's called Smart Thinking Online Tutoring in each of our class, and this is something that you create an account for, and you can submit sections of your paper or whole sections online, and there is someone that will look for specific areas that you ask them to help you with, and they'll give you feedback, and it seems like a pretty helpful source as well. And then right here we have the My CSM library resources and the Purdue OWL. Our librarian right now is amazing, and she has put together a ton of resources and videos and links and websites that can help you in your searches, in identifying scholarly research. She's got a lot of stuff on APA, and so she has done an amazing job. So I highly encourage you to look at the My Library resources as well. And then before we get back to the research modules, there is a link for textbook information here, and that will this list will be updated for you for the fall, but please know that it is subject to change. So don't do something like buy your textbooks a year out, because the publisher can change, an adjunct professor can change. What I would like you to do is it will be there for you to get a good look at, but always wait for the email that talks about the upcoming semester, because that will have the textbooks in it that you will for sure need. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on keeping on here, folks, because we're getting close to being done. Okay, so for the program this year, we have a research methods module that we need all of you to complete by August 26th. And everything is connected here in your professional learning community, but the points are connected to your Doctoral 1 seminar course, which you do not have access to until August 20th. But what I will do is I will go in and make sure everything is complete in here and then move the points over to Doc Seminar 1. Okay, so in your overview page, we have 3 goals. The first one is our APA, and upon completion of this section, the learner will demonstrate understanding of APA citation and reference rules in order to prepare him or her for the courses in the College of St. Mary EDD program. Our second focus is qualitative research. So the same thing, we ask the learner to demonstrate understanding of basic qualitative research and then quantitative research. We ask the learner to demonstrate the understanding of basic quantitative research and statistical concepts in order to prepare him or her for the program. Okay, so you have 3 areas that you will need to complete. The first is the APA citations and reference, so this is why I need you to have that book right away, okay? So there is some resources that we have for you from OWL, some videos to watch, and then what you need to do is you need to complete a 20-question quiz for us that is at Ashford Writing. Now, APA is very difficult to create quizzes without really plagiarizing and things like that, so we do use a public published quiz that we don't have to pay for or anything like that. So it's open book. You can use your APA manual, any information from OWL or whatever it is that you use, but we would like you to take this quiz. You can take it as many times as you want. We would like you to demonstrate mastery of 90%. When you have completed the quiz, and this is because this is a public piece, this won't happen with the other 2, but what you need to do is you need to take a screenshot of your score and post it to the assignment link below. Now again, this quiz will be credited in Doctoral Seminar 1. Okay, so the quiz, you just click right here on Ashford Writing, and then when it's time to upload your snapshot, you do it right here to the assignment link called APA Assessment. Okay, and then the qualitative and quantitative research sections are very similar. They have different areas, 3 different objectives for each. And so when you go into what is qualitative research, you will see that we have some written information and we have some videos that you need to watch, and then we have resources and things that we suggest you read to learn more about each of the topics. So you'll go through A, B, so then the types of qualitative research, and then qualitative research components and procedures. And then at the end of both the qualitative and quantitative sections, you will have a quiz that you need to complete. The quizzes, we are going for mastery, so they can be taken as many times as you want, and we need you to go until you get at least a 90%. So you just click on the quiz, and you can see this little button right here that says take the quiz. Now, many of you or everyone hopefully has the email from me about about the textbooks, and I did ask you to get the research design text by Creswell and Creswell. So if you don't have that yet, I know our bookstore has it, and of course you can order it other places as well. So if you don't recall that information from that email or your acceptance letter, just give me a shout and I'll resend that information to you. But you will need that textbook for both the qualitative and quantitative sections of this research methods manual. So quantitative, again, the same thing. You have the types of quantitative research. In this one, you have common statistical vocabulary, statistical tests, and then there's your quantitative research methods quiz. So we hope that this will allow you, because we've had the orientation this evening and the professional learning community will open up tomorrow, that it won't be a problem to get it done way before August 26th. But then once they're done, you're good to go. And again, those points will be awarded to you in Doctoral Seminar 1. Okay, so then the last piece that I would like to show you, and this is another section that will be due, as you can see right here, it needs to be completed by August 26th, is the academic integrity and dispositions. Now, the dispositions document is specifically for our program. And we would just really appreciate if you could read over this very carefully and understand what it is that we expect from you as a student. You know, we want you to be honest. We want you to demonstrate respect, and we want you to follow the established policies and procedures. We need to be very ethical when it comes to your writing, no plagiarizing, using scholarly work. We need you to invest the time and effort to engage in intellectual pursuit. We need you to assume responsibility for your learning by proactively seeking, processing, and generating information. We want you to understand the various dimensions of human diversity and commit to fairness and educational equity for all. We need you to respectfully communicate. This is both, ladies and gentlemen, this is so important that this is both verbally and non-verbally with faculty, the program director, your doctoral committee members, and your peers. We have actually run into quite a few problems with adults being disrespectful verbally and non-verbally to our faculty and to their own peers. And it's not fair and it's not right. I understand if there are moments where you feel upset or you feel disrespected or whatever it would be. Please don't send a nasty email. Please don't make a nasty phone call. Give yourself a little bit of time to step back, to calm down, and then go back and write your email. Have someone look at your email. Have someone practice a run-through phone call or whatever it would be for them. We will give you everything that we have as a faculty. I swear we will. And we don't want anything but success for each one of you, because you are who make our program. And if we don't have you, we don't have jobs. So we will give you everything we have, but what we ask is that you are respectful, and that you treat everyone that you interact with respect. Okay, so thank you very much in advance for that. And then number 7, we would ask you to respectfully collaborate with others, and again, respond positively to constructive feedback. And then number 8, we ask you to seek out help or assistance when it is that you need it. So what I need you to do with our disposition form then is I need you to print this off, and I need you to sign it, and I need you to date it, and then I need you to upload it, and I need you to, I'll show you what, I need you to submit it right here. Because then what's going to happen is that's going to come back to us. I am going to print this one off, and I'm going to put it in a file so that we have it, so that we have record that you understand the dispositions that are important to our department. If these dispositions are broken, you know, a lot of times it will probably be a communication from me or communication from faculty. That's what will come first. But we will dismiss people from the program if dispositions are broken multiple times. So we just ask you to read over those, to know what it is that we expect of you, and we will give those same kind of dispositions and treatment and respect back to you as well. Okay, and then finally, we have an academic integrity module right here. This is mandated by CSM because we want all of our College of St. Mary students to have academic integrity. And so we ask that you view these modules, and then there are 3 short quizzes that you need to complete when they're done. Yeah, and they're very short, and you don't even need like a score, like a maximum score. I think they just tell you to take it twice and you're done. But it's fairly quick because we had to do this as faculty also. And then again, there are points connected to the disposition form and the academic integrity module in Doctoral Seminar 1. Okay, so bless everyone's hearts for listening to me just yap away. But that is our professional learning community that will be open to you tomorrow. If for some reason you don't have a pending invitation, once I open that up, please let me know and I'll have that resent to you. But I'm looking very forward to you all being able to kind of get started and explore Canvas. And I think this will really help you be ready for our classes come fall. All right, so let's stop sharing this and we will move on. So again, this is just that the module assignment, everything is due by August 26th. And last but not least, look where we're at. We're at the questions and comments. So bless your hearts for being very, very patient with us. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Susan, she's just going to tell you a couple, she's going to talk to you for a couple minutes, and then we will open it up. And the questions can either be for Susan, they can also be for Dr. Linden, and they can also be for me. And then we will just answer questions till people are done. If you feel you have the information that you need and you don't have any questions, you are more than welcome to log off too, because I know that you've been sitting here listening to us for a while. So if you do choose to log off before I get the chance to officially say goodbye, we are just very grateful that you were here with us tonight. If you have any questions or comments between now and August 20th, please feel free to reach out to me or to Dr. Linden. And I also have Susan's email on your agenda if you have some questions you would like to ask her, but you're not comfortable. Like, does Dr. Preisman talk this much all the time? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But you can ask her those kinds of questions too, and then that way Dr. Linden and I don't even have to know you've asked them. So I'm going to scoot my computer over to Susan and let her say hello, and then, one more thing. When you have a question, you can see that little hand right there below. You can raise that, and then we see a little number on that, so then we can ask people in order that we see the numbers.
All right, hello. First thing, every time I'm on the video, I'm constantly fixing my hair. So, every time you're seeing yourself, it always is a unique opportunity, and hearing your voice as well. So I wanted to say congratulations and welcome to all of you, and I'm excited for you and your journey. It's really an amazing adventure. I know you put a lot of thought into it and about where you're going to go and how you're going to do it. A little bit about me is I am trained as a social worker. I worked in the community as a social worker for about 20 years, doing mental health therapy and various administrative tasks. And then about 4 years ago, moved over to higher ed at the University of Nebraska. And then kind of decided, if you want to be in higher ed, you need to get a doctorate, and also just really looking at wanting to do more in terms of understanding about education. In all of my training as a social worker and all the continuing ed I've taught and all the classes I've taught even before I went to higher ed, as an adjunct, nobody really teaches you how to teach a class. So this has been an interesting and an informative journey. So just to I'll start talking broadly about some things that have helped me and the things I've really appreciated and liked, and then talk about some of the struggles that I personally have had in this adventure, and talk to you, maybe give you a couple hints of things that have been really helpful for me. Certainly I'm still figuring out myself, so I don't have all the answers. But really in broad terms, the things that I really appreciate and like the most is the feedback that you get. Dr. Preisman talked a lot about feedback that you get as a student. And one thing I realized when I became a student again just last year when I was in your shoes is that as an adult, you really don't get a lot of feedback. After you graduate with my master's and you go to work, the feedback it's really not about you anymore. It's about the people that you're working with. So being back in a student role, I've been able to get a lot of constructive feedback about things I do well and the things I need to improve on. And that's really refreshing. You don't get that enough. I certainly love all the positive reinforcement that I get. So there's plenty of that, and I appreciate that very much. Also, there's just a lot of detail that you get in the courses. And there's lots of interaction if you want it, in terms of phone calls or meetings or virtual meetings or emails, things that are posted in the course. And those have been really interesting, and it's been fun to get to know the faculty. That's been a really a great part about it. Some of the struggles that I personally have, just again talking more broadly, and the things that I've done to help with that, is really a couple things. One of them that is just managing schedules. So we all know we're all smart, right? And we all know that we're capable of doing this, and we all know that we do hard things all the time, and we can do hard things. But when I'm having a hard time, it's usually one of two things. It's my schedule, or I'm having a hard time managing my emotions, that I've got too much going on and I get really overwhelmed. And so it's usually one of those two things. So if I can predict those things out, then I can really manage what they are and be better equipped to handle it. And kind of put those tools in my toolbox ahead of time. And I do a lot of that prepping for those things. So in particular, in terms of scheduling, I have done lots of really, I guess, I don't know if I'd call them unusual, but creative thinking about managing my schedule. So, you get the syllabus at the beginning of class, put the dates in your calendar, but then I'll go through the semester and I will block out time in my schedule right before assignments are due. I've scheduled vacation times where I'm not going to work on the days before I have assignments due. And then every week I get into the course. I mean, you're in it every day, but particularly the beginning of the week, I will go through and see what I have to do that week. And then I go through my calendar, and then I put the times that I'm going to work on those things in my calendar ahead of time. And then I do it as early as I can. And typically I'm usually done with the assignment before it's due that way, because I've worked ahead. Because you never know, as a social worker, and I'm a single mom, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm always trying to do things really far in advance. And then inevitably something happens, right? So you're trying to navigate all of those systems. So I work really hard at managing my schedule. The best gift you can give yourself, and what your friends and your coworkers and your employer can do, is give you the gift of some flexibility. It's the best gift that you can give yourself, is letting yourself do things at different times and just being able to navigate your world. There's many times I've been up, I have a son, I'm up at 5 and I'll do homework before he gets up. I'll do homework after he goes to bed. I do a lot of homework at work. I work in higher ed. Everybody understands and they're very supportive of that. I have done crazy things like last year on Thanksgiving was the first year my son spent Thanksgiving with his dad. I didn't have my son, and I was sad, and I had a paper due for Dr. Priceman. And I told my family I'm not coming to Thanksgiving, and I booked a flight to Miami, and I sat on the beach and wrote my paper for 3 days and really took care of myself and got the paper done. Just things like that. I've taken sick days. I'm trying to manage what the schedule is. And then, when I feel more in control about it, then I'm better. It's more easy for me to manage my emotions because I'm feeling more in control about what I'm doing and the decision that I'm making. So, it's a great opportunity for us all to be able to ask for people what we need and to make sure that we're getting what we need, that you are in charge of your world and making sure that people aren't encroaching on what you need to have done. So other things that I think, just some practical things about how to navigate this, is that making sure you have an area of your house set up that's kind of taken over. So I have, inevitably, I think a lot of people, it's always the dining room table. I have a really great desk at my house, but it is not a good space for this because you need a lot of space to spread it out. And I've just kind of gotten over the fact that we're just not going to eat there most of the time. And at the end of the semester, I clean it all off and I clean it off and it looks really pretty for, a week or two and I feel good about it. But, I got over the fact that it's just a mess there all the time. And there's certain things you get a pass on now because you're in school. So take advantage of that when you can, about home cleanliness or what you're wearing on any given day or bags under your eyes or whatever it is, you get a pass. So make sure you have your area established. And then when I was in you guys' shoes last year, a couple things that I did I think really helped me. One of them was I met with the librarian before I even started the program. And I just sat down and talked to the librarian about, this is kind of what I'm interested in. How would I figure out how to find out more about it? And like I said, we all have master's degrees. We've all done various things, but working at this level, you really need to know how to search for articles and you really need to know how to find it quickly. You're not going to have time to spend hours on end trying to find the right article. You're going to need to go to it and find it and be able to have it there. So I met with the librarian before I started, and then I met with her twice during my first class, I think, with Dr. Linden. I met with just face to face with the librarian, and I don't use the CSM librarian because I work at the University of Nebraska, and she's just right across the street from me. So I just go over there and I sit there, and she's helped me with that. Other things that I've done is you can get the mobile app for Canvas on your phone, and I would recommend that you do that. I don't work a lot from that app, but what I do on there is you can adjust the settings so you can see when people are posting in the discussion boards. And that way it kind of reminds me, oh yeah, people are in there. I need to make sure that I'm in there checking that. And then you can go in and respond. It also notifies you when you get an email from your professor or from anyone, or when your grades are posted or anything like that. So you can set your notifications so you can see that. And that's been really helpful, just as another way of reminding me and keeping me on track and on schedule, because we get distracted with other things. Other things I just kind of treated myself to is I got a printer. I've never had a printer before at my house, and that's been helpful for printing things. And then I got 2 computer screens. That's really nice because you're going to oftentimes need to have 2 documents open, like an article and your paper, and then having 2 screens has been really nice, but certainly not necessary by any means. But those are the things that I've done. And other than that, the best part about graduate school is buying office supplies and school supplies. So I've done a lot of that, of showing up with my folder with the puppy dog on the front for group projects, because, you can get cool office supplies and getting to do fun things like that. So just not forgetting to have fun with it. So I hope that's helpful, but feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them whenever.
Okay, thank you, Susan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here's what we'll do. I'll call your name because I can see like Laura Lee has a question already, and if anybody else, and Mitzi does, I think I can, well, maybe I can't really see a number, but maybe I can. I'm getting old. And what I'll do is I'll just call on you and we'll have you ask the question, and just for sound purposes, I'll probably just move my computer between me and Susan and Dr. Lynn, and that way there's no feedback or anything like that. So, Laura Lee, I see you have a question. Let's see if we can hear you. Oh, sweetie, I can't hear you. Let's see. Laura Lee, can you type your question into the chat for me? Would that work? And I think it's probably just because you're on a phone. It just, sometimes those daggum phones just don't work as well. And Victor, I saw, while we're waiting for Laura Lee, I saw you posted a question. Has there been any past problems using Macs with your applications? I don't believe so. The only problem is CSM does not support a Mac. I used to have a Mac, and so they didn't always weren't probably as helpful as I would have liked, but that's just simply because they don't support Macs. But I've always been very successful with mine. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay, Laura Lee, did we get your question? Is the APA manual available at the CSM bookstore? Yes, absolutely it is. Thank you. Okay, next, and you guys, we will see. And if you want to turn on your camera too when you talk so we can see your beautiful faces, that would be fabulous. And then once your question is done, if you guys can kind of re-click off the hand. Mitzi, would you like to unmute yourself and perhaps start your camera and you can ask us your question? Does it sort of work? Are you there, Mitzi? Okay, we'll see. Maybe Mitzi put hers in the chat too. Oh, you didn't have a question. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, anyone else? What other questions do we have? Victor, how can we help you, sir?
Work in adult education. So is there a focus where I can really benefit in this program or those kind of programs?
Sure, Victor. One thing, and I'll maybe let Susan address this too, but we do realize that we have people coming in from health professions, education, and the business world. And so most of the and I would actually say all of the assignments in our courses have to be more open-ended in order to meet the needs of our students. So really from the second course that you will take, just because Doc Seminar 1 you don't really go into necessarily your area except for maybe a research, an article review. After that, all assignments can be geared toward exactly what you want to gear them to. So I'll let Susan comment on that a little bit too.
Yeah, good. That's a good question. I could say that there are a lot of people in my cohort that I don't know that will end up in higher ed that are occupational therapists. We have somebody in hospitality management. We have a broad variety. The way that the assignments are structured is a lot of times you'll have a big end project, and all of the assignments working up to that are in preparation for that ending project. So you decide on what the project would be. And there are lots of times that people are working on something that, might be educational in nature for health management or supervision, maybe focused. So I think that it could be a variety of different things and different directions that you can take it.
And Victor, we will try to help direct you as far as, research and resources and, maybe even people, if that helps too, but to help you maintain and achieve what it is that you want to achieve in our program. So hopefully that helped. You bet. Okay, anybody else? Okay, there we go. Now, to Victoria or Della? I remember I can't remember what you like to go by, Victoria. Okay. Maybe, I wonder if the sound's not working. Okay, well, we'll try and maybe come back. Oh, Victoria, okay, she says her mic is down. Okay, so she had asked, Susan, how much do you spend on textbooks a semester?
I'd have to think about that. I think the one I just bought for the next semester was $150, but that's expensive. I have been able to get most of the textbooks, they're less than 100. Some of the courses don't even require a textbook because the articles are posted online. So Amazon, I've gotten a lot of used textbooks on there. I haven't really thought about how much total, but I would say the textbook I just bought for the stats class was the most expensive one, and that was 150, I think.
Sure. Thanks, Susan. And another thing that I would like to add to that too, ladies and gentlemen, is, for example, the book that we're having you buy at the beginning of the course will be used in how many classes do you think, Dr. Linden? 6?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. So we really do, yeah, throughout the program.
All the dissertation stuff, but for the actual
So
coursework.
we do try to make the purchase worth your while. And as Susan said, we do have quite a few courses that don't even have a textbook. And we do use online resources and articles from College of St. Mary's Library. So, and the stats textbook, definitely something that you will, use for stats. If you do a quantitative dissertation, you would want that again. And then for any of you who are going to go into higher ed or some kind of research, it's always good to have one of those textbooks on hand as well.
One thing I've liked about using the same textbook is that I really feel like I'm getting a lot out of it, which I hadn't really thought about before. Not just the cost, but I really understand the concepts a lot better because we've used the same textbook for several classes, and it's more meaningful to me.
Perfect. And then Victor, I saw in the chat, you said you had another question. If you want to go ahead and ask that.
Kind of general. I've been in a few graduate classes and I've always, struggled with this. Explain to me, I guess, you guys' concept on the difference between plagiarism and paraphrasing.
Okay, well, even when you paraphrase an idea that is not your own or not general knowledge, it needs to have some kind of citation with it. Whether it's, according to Smith and Jones, 1998 or whatever, and then it can be paraphrased in your own words. And so, but there are things that are common knowledge, and I'm, of course, when you're forced to think about something like that, like, for example, differentiation in education is meeting the needs of all learners. Someone said that at one time, and that probably could be a direct quote, but the fact of the matter is that has now become general knowledge. So for me to say differentiating is meeting the needs of all learners, I don't have to give that quote or that statement citation anymore. But if I take something specific about differentiation from an article or from a textbook, and whether or not I choose to paraphrase it in my own words or use it as a direct quotation, then I have to have that citation with it. And Victor, we will absolutely help you guys in the beginning with that. We do try to give a lot of feedback in our opening courses on APA. And, it's definitely, as long as you're not handing in an entire paper that's plagiarized, we understand that there will be mistakes that happen in the beginning of the program, but we just ask that if something like that is pointed out to you, or let's say you have a Turnitin report that comes in at a really high number, that we consider that kind of okay, we've had a little bit of a problem, we can't see this again, and here's how we're going to help you to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
And the issues I have is I've read a lot of papers, and so I try and write something, with all the sites that I've had.
Sure.
But yet I'm not sure exactly where that
Sure, sure, sure. No, and I think, Victor, like I said, we'll start to kind of work through that as we get going in the classes, and Turnitin helps a lot because it does help to catch those sentences or those phrases of words that may be pulled from documents. So absolutely, we will definitely help everyone through that process in the beginning. That was a great question. Thank you for asking that. All right, do I have any other hands? Marcia.
So much a question is I just wanted to share with everyone. You can buy your books at it's a website called www.abe. I got the research book for $3. So all books there's no book over $10, and the shipping is free. So I use it all the time, and it's wonderful.
Wow.
Paying side prices, it's 150. I heard her say 100, like, oh my God.
Yes.
It's a great website, and they're fast on the delivery.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And you guys too, when we talk about textbooks, just make sure that you have the edition that the faculty ask for. So, check the publication date, the edition number, and use that ISBN number to make sure that you have the exact textbook for that. Okay, let's see. I'm going to switch back to I don't know what that beeping noise is. I don't think it's my computer. No, it's not my battery. Okay, let's see here. Anybody else? Laura Lee. And Laura Lee, I may have had my volume down on my computer when you tried to talk to me the first time, so try to talk to me again. Oh, Laura Lee? Oh, yay, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so Susan Ray said something about projects.
Well, we've only done one group project in my 1-year tenure here, and it was virtual. It was some virtual meetings, and then there was some emailing. So we just kind of broke it up into different pieces where everybody did a portion of it. It was kind of nice to get to know people a little bit better. It was in that first class that Dr. Morgan did for us. And so it was nice to get to know people in that way. But we haven't done one since then. But there, you have everybody's email addresses, so there have been times when we've emailed each other, just the students, about what do you think about this, or were you able to find this resource? Where'd you get that citation? So there is more interaction, but mostly emailing and then some virtual meetings. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, Laura Lee, just a second. Are you still talking to us? Because I muted you. Just a second. I'll come back to you. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
Explain more to me about the practice.
About the what? Oh, sure, sure. I will actually, I'll let Dr. Linden take that one.
So, the practicum is really, once you've had the educational leadership class, which is the one that precedes the practicum, that's where you get the theory piece. And then in the practicum piece, you actually work with a preceptor that has been approved by the faculty person, but that preceptor oversees a project that you might do for your work. Let's say there's some improvement project that the data shows needs to be addressed, and you might take that on. Or one of the students just recently did updating a manual for the educators and part of their orientation for their classwork on how they actually did their own practicums. So it's just a project that you do, that it's a real project in some of the like work environment that you might be in, but you have a educational leader who's your preceptor to help sort of guide you through it. It's pretty independent. You establish your own goals and you establish your own rubric on how you want to be evaluated at the end by your preceptor, things like that. So I think it's maybe one of the nicest ways to do something that you contribute to your profession or your work in some way. So it takes on a variety of different ideas about something that you can actually apply leadership principles in managing a project. Does that help? Certainly.
Yeah, we got her question. All right, let's see here. Anybody else? Oh, I see that my chat's orange. Let's see that. Oh, okay, so Victor just had commented how he's done a group project where they present online. Okay. And let's see here. So Victoria, are you talking about the website for the books? Because what was that, Abe, I think? Yes, was it ABE? Is that what? Marcia, would you mind texting that to I'm sorry, typing that address into the chat for everybody? And then that way they can copy and paste it or click on it real quick. We'll have her put that in there and then everybody can see that. And then are there any other questions while we're waiting? You guys have been amazing. Okay, perfect. Abe.com. Thank you, Marcia. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, since we're going on an hour 40, you guys have been rock stars. What we can do again is any questions or comments, you can text or you can email me, you can email Dr. Linden, you can email Susan, and you can ask us whatever it is that you may have missed or just weren't comfortable asking via the big group tonight. But if you'll just, as a reminder, tomorrow or the next day, try to check in and make sure that you have access to the professional learning community. And as soon as you want to get started on those modules, get started on those for us, because again, that will not only help you with Canvas, but it'll make sure we have some basic research methods background, APA background, and then the dispositions, of course, are a very important piece along with the academic integrity modules. So thank you very much for your time. We are thrilled that you will all be joining us this fall, and I'll let you go for now, and then we'll be in touch. Do you guys want to say goodbye? Susan, say goodbye. There's Dr. Linden. Thank you.